Capricorn, this is your May 2022 soul story. If you have a sun rising or moon in the sign, these readings are general, but they will give you some key astrological dates and intuitive messages that we hope will empower you as you move through the next few weeks. So this is Romy. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are into Taurus season, which is a fellow earth sign for you, and really speaking the same energetic conversation. So we're going to be opening up May with the Queen of Swords. It's all in the details this month, Capricorn, and I think there is some deep contemplation about the journey that's been taken, and you've really learned some discernment, I think. And part of the energy I feel for May is about rebuilding trust now, rebuilding it with yourself and with others. And that's going to mean that you're going to have to review the boundaries that are in place, and some of them will need to be strengthened and others perhaps will need to be softened so that you can find the opportunity to build bridges or to reconnect in ways that help really to clear things up, and from a karmic perspective allow a sense of movement in the pathways as is kind of destined at this time for you. You know, sometimes the healing comes from moving on, and sometimes the healing comes from finding ways to stay within difficult, complex or challenging situations. The Queen of Swords does bring in air energy, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, that might be relevant for you. But remember, we're also going to be welcoming a Mercury retrograde this month from the 10th, and we'll be feeling the shadow of that right from the beginning of May. What that means is that often things can get lost in translation, and so when we are revisiting often things from the past or people from the past, we have a chance to sort of go back over things, but there's a directive really that says you're also going to have to look at the subtext, you're going to have to look at the nonverbal communication, and to some extent read between the lines. You know, you are here for the opportunity to learn and to develop and grow, and there's something about the spiritual maturity that we see coming through which really is being demonstrated in the way that you're looking at yourself and others with more compassion, more gentleness, but at the same time complete accountability. The Queen of Swords is not wanting to be wasteful. She's wanting to kind of cut to the chase and sort of get to the root and get to the heart of things. And I think that you're also in that mood. Now, the reason that's important is actually in Taurus energy, we're illuminating 5th house, which is all about creativity. It's about desire and passion and romance and that inner child and children in your life. And so what I feel is taking place is like a deep reevaluation for you, 2 of Cups, about, you know, the key relationships, what you're devoting yourself to, and how you are able to, or you want to make space to bring form and life to things in, you know, in your space that truly matter to you. So that means that you have to address and deal with the things that are getting in the way, that are causing resistance, or have just been a continual source of drain or depletion around you. Now in Taurus energy, we're already more grounded and sort of feeling the need to kind of pull ourselves down from some of that Piscean ethereal energy into something that feels more real and tangible, but also we're very focused on things that feel more tactile, more sensitive, more earthly. And so there's going to be a desire from your part, Capricorn, to be around people who are more intuitively tuned in and connected, and being able to show that, express that. The emotional intimacy is going to be important, especially as we're also going to be welcoming a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio on the 15th. Now, your 2 of Cups comes through here, and yes, there may be an emphasis in and around relationships. And so there might be a little bit of a flip energy from sort of being quite cool and disconnected to sort of coming into a period through the course of May where you're able to get on the same page, or there's a, you know, possible reunion, or just even an opportunity to kind of sit down across from somebody and sort of really speak things out. Now this might come in professionally, it doesn't necessarily have to mean romantically, although that 5th house does suggest that could be on the cards. What I also want to say is that that Queen of Swords could also represent what is or has been certainly a little bit of interference in regards to a relationship or situation. And so if you've been plagued by that, perhaps, problems at work, in terms of you and a colleague or you and a boss because of somebody else, or, in a key relationship in your life that matters to you, this is something that I feel has been ongoing and sort of keeps rearing up, to be dealt with, then I think we also have the opportunity here to clear something. Remember, you're here to be a disruptor, you're here to innovate, you're here to lead, you're here to follow what your true kind of soul is sort of telling you moment to moment is the right thing for you. What I think is also going to be taking place this month, Capricorn, is this ability to just be able to see right through things. So, even where the manipulation has perhaps been very subtle from others around you, during this time, I feel like you're getting such a sense of where loyalties lie, or where you need to root, where you need to invest, and what is going to make your energy feel safe and whom you feel safe around. And these things are important because as we start to rebuild trust with ourselves and, with the path that we're on, the future that we're building for ourselves, then we just need to know that we have that kind of solid base beneath us. Now, the other big news this month, of course, is that Jupiter is going to be shifting out of Pisces into the sign of Aries. That's going to take place on the 10th of the month, same day that Mercury stations retrograde. Now, Jupiter in Aries is going to happen right through to the 28th of October. It'll dip back into Pisces, and then you'll get another opportunity to work with that energy into 2023. So May is going to give you a bit of a heads up and a preview as to what that's going to feel like. Now, you have Jupiter in the 4th house, Capricorn, so there's a sense of real expansion, perhaps around the family. Yeah, so additions to the family, or becoming part of a new family, or your soul family changing. This is very auspicious for those involved with property or making changes in and around the home or the environments that you work, buying and selling or renovating, doing anything here. There's real sense of luck and sort of benevolence that comes in that can be supportive and help you to feel more secure. So I think this is going to be an interesting energy for you to work with, and you should start to get some signs, some inspiration, or even things that are going to begin to emerge in May that are going to give you a strong indication of how supportive that particular transit can be for you. So as we come into this full moon lunar eclipse on the 15th in Scorpio, 25 degrees, we have some positive planetary influences with it. Pluto, Mars, Neptune, all favourably aspected, which means that not only are we really guided to act, we're also guided from a place of real faith and certainty. Now, of course, in the full moon energy, it's about release. And remember, eclipses can be a little bit of a showdown, the sun and moon opposing, the masculine and feminine energies, that conversation that's taking place between our inner and our outer worlds and how we express ourselves. You've got the 10 of Wands here, suggestive of the need to put something down and to let something go. I think it will be absolutely crystal clear to you as you come up around the mid part of the month as to what that needs to be. There will be a little bit of a tiredness and a sort of exhaustion energy that comes in around that point in May, so pay attention. Again, remember, as we're working to find a better balance between work and play so that you can, enjoy some of the themes of this 5th house sort of showing up for you. Sometimes the universe sort of almost exacerbates things and it makes them, even more acute, so that we really pay attention and listen. And remember, Scorpio brings that absolute reinvention, that burning something to the ground to sort of rise up from the ashes. And it could feel around that time that it just gets all a little bit dramatic and all a little bit too much, whether that be on an emotional level or just kind of what's going on or the overwhelm that's coming in. But really, this is about giving you a deeper sense of drive and determination, and perhaps just kind of putting you in a position where you have to make a more spontaneous or instantaneous response or decision, whereas normally you might be more thoughtful and considerate and take longer, which is not problematic. It's just that I think there's a a kind of clear energy coming through this month for you, that we need to get you to where you're supposed to be. So if there has been some delay, a little bit of avoidance on your part maybe, or just that things haven't quite locked into place, this is definitely a month of like clearing things up, taking care of business. And we know eclipse energies bring things through really suddenly. I always say it's about the breaking down, breaking open, breaking through. Now bear in mind the first week of May, as we sort of build up into the energy of feeling that eclipse, we do also have some really positive aspects. On the 3rd, Jupiter's going to sextile to Pluto, and then on the 5th we have the annual Sun conjunct Uranus. You know, what that translates into is that, you know, there's an opportunity for some really strong positive breakthrough energy, and perhaps it's coming from significant messages, news and information that's making its way to you, or that you decide to send out. So there's a favourable aspect to that. It's definitely the best time of the month ahead of retrograde as well to be sort of dealing with things, you know, or having those conversations, even though you'll still be in shadow. But what I like about this is it's sort of, there's also like a sense of the sort of warning shot across the bow. It's kind of telling you, look, soon enough this is going to be too much, so take heed now. Listen to what your body is saying, listen to where your emotions are guiding you, because there's going to be a moment where you're going to have to stop, rest, reevaluate, and really think about what it is that you're doing and what the longer term impact of that particular approach might be having on you. The thing I want you to remember is that, you know, once your mind formulates a new idea, Capricorn, it's changed irrevocably by that. You know, the mind is stretched, and we never go back to not knowing or not kind of working with that new energy, and that matters. So if each and every day you can bring one new belief in to your conscious mind and you can work with that, remember what I said, it's all in the details. This is going to have a huge impact on things for you, because as we move into Gemini season and that 6th house energy, you're really working to take care of the day-to-day, how you show up in the world, looking after your health and well-being, thinking about how you're being of service both to yourself and others. Now the 5 of Swords is suggestive to me that you can't do right for wrong. So there's somebody that just keeps like changing their mind in terms of what they want from you and what they expect from you. It's super frustrating. We have a whole bunch of planets in Aries this month as well. Venus in Aries, Jupiter in Aries, and then Mars is going to shift into Aries on the 24th. Now this is significant because it means that we're driven with passion and fire and intensity. We want to pioneer, we want to really push the envelope with things, but at the same time it can also bring a lot of frustration energy through. It can bring some anger, it can bring some hostility, and with the eclipse energies it can also kind of, things can get quite heated and feel very emotive. I really think someone else has an issue, which just isn't about you, and sometimes you just get really caught in the crossfire of that, and in and of itself it can feel exhausting, especially if you're trying to rebuild trust, rebuild bridges, and sort of, you know, find ways to kind of meaningfully move something forward. Sometimes we're in situations, aren't we, where we have to work with people, deal with people, whether they be family or at work, friendship groups, social settings, relationships, and, you know, we don't always agree, we're not always on board, we don't even necessarily particularly always like the people that we have to, you know, spend time with, but we do need to tolerate and find a way through, and remind yourself about this aspect of your own spiritual maturity this month. It is about ways of just saying, okay, you know, I need to be really clear on my belief. And the thing is, when you're 100% knowing and accountable for everything that you bring to the table, the influence of that is so powerful. So if there are people that are showing up with discord and chaos energy, they're not in alignment with themselves. So why would they have more power than you in that moment if you are completely grounded and centered and connected into your true source, charged up by your own energy field? You need to remember this, because it's going to give you a lot more peace and stability through any kind of situation where it feels like people are specifically trying to trigger you. I want to remind you that, you know, this is a month where you have to define what things mean to you. So what does it mean to be loved? What does it mean to be successful? What does it mean to have peace? What does it mean to have energy alignment? You know, it's all very well to kind of read the memes on social media or to talk about it, but you have to kind of figure out how personal that is for you in the context of your life and your experiences right now. your focus on the interpretation is going to make it more meaningful, and is also going to deal with what the underlying root fears or anxieties are that might have been stopping you in the past, or are coming up as a certain block to your advancement in being able to receive and open up to some of these things, okay? She has her head in her hands here, is almost like a little bit of despair energy of just like, oh, how do I make this work, is kind of the phrase that's coming through. I don't know how to make this work. 10 of Swords, 10 of Wands, 9 of Swords is telling me that. Well, let's look at this Queen of Swords, because again, she's just going to cut through what is irrelevant. That's important. I feel like what's happening is you're absorbing so much and you're trying to then look at it all at once. And it just feels like one immovable piece of energy that there is like no way around. There are solutions here, but what we need to do is we need to focus in on what is the most important thing. And honestly, I think, you know, to kind of give you the first step of that, it's got to be about rebuilding the trust. Because if you fully trusted yourself and believed in your ability to sort this, figure this out, move forward, and actually that this is not going to be that significant in the months and years to come, then what you would realize is that you don't need to take on that level of stress. You don't need to allow some of these fears to kind of get in the way or impede your progress with things, okay? Certainly some of the shadow aspect of that Scorpio energy is just going to be hitting hard, I feel, but it doesn't have to be problematic, because remember, this is about taking care of business. It's about clearing things up. It's about karmic resolution. And if it is about you finding a better balance, sometimes they put us in uncomfortable situations so that we are forced to really say, okay, enough is enough. And that just may be with yourself in terms of why you keep going to something that you know is going to cause you that upheaval in your own energy field. So we've got to remember where we're at and how far we've come. We've got to remember that, you know, we can't really influence where other people are at or how they choose to interpret what we have to say. Your Princess of Swords, Page of Swords is good, because what she's doing is she's bringing like a new open-mindedness for you, and I think that's what you need. If the Nine of Swords is kind of closed down, we're literally not even wanting to show our face here. All of a sudden, you know, we emerge here with an energy that says, okay, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to think new thoughts, I'm willing to choose to express myself differently. I think there are important communications that will be taking place through the month, but we need to remember with retrograde, it's going to feel like it's going in the wrong order, you know? So you might be thwarted, things end before they begin, or you kind of come back together, you're on the same page, and then it disintegrates really quickly. So it's going to feel out of sync. It's going to feel like things are not flowing in the way that you'd expected or you want them to. However, what we need to understand is that sometimes the universe has a very particular reason for putting things in a certain way, because what it forces us to acknowledge, to deal with, how it invites us to start to rebuild something, reevaluate, or to let something go, could only have happened if we were taken on that specific detour, or the information or energy unfolded in a certain way. So you're going to have to suspend judgment on things. Okay, you're going to have to give yourself opportunity to revisit something after retrograde is clear, following the 3rd of June. And it does actually dip from Gemini back into Taurus on the 22nd, so keep that in mind as well. There'll be a shift of energy in that regards. But this month we also have some really positive, auspicious energy of just getting a handle on stuff. And I really feel toward the second part of May, that's where I see you. I see you feeling much more comfortable and assertive and just kind of in control of sort of, okay, now I know what I'm going to do. I'm really clear on the strategy and the way forward. And there may be a sense of like somebody not even being like totally kind of on board with what you are presenting, but neither are they totally backing off either. So keep that in mind. You know, you might be looking for a full 100%, yes, I'm all in. You might not get that through May. You might have to wait a little bit longer. But remember what I said about kind of reading the cues of like non-verbal communication, or into the, you know, into the sort of subtext of things, because if somebody's still there and listening, even if they're not expressing the words, but they're still showing up and not blocking what you're saying, then there's a direct kind of realization here that, you know, it's your energy and influence that can still drive things forward, and I feel like they'll get on board. What does need to happen is a fundamental change in the approach. That's going to be uncomfortable for everybody, okay? But it is necessary at this moment in time. Going back to try to do what was done before or how you did it before, just not going to cut it. So death comes in with beautiful transformational energy. Of course, it also links into Scorpio as well. And we have this kind of rebirth and this shedding that's taking place through the month of May that if you really embrace, I think is going to give you a much, much better opportunity to kind of bring a different version of yourself to the table. I think you're going to surprise yourself a little bit, Capricorn. We also have this new moon coming in Gemini right at the end of the month. And again, I think you're going to be changing some day-to-day rituals for yourself. You're going to be establishing a new routine. And honestly, I think when you do it, you're going to be like, why the hell did I not do this sooner? It feels so much better for me to do it this way. And that's fine. You know, it took the time it took for you to come to that realization. Now you're here. Now you've implemented it. It's going to work quickly and you're going to see results really fast. So especially in sort of relation to things connected to your work, connected to your health, your well-being, exercise, and just sort of like how your daily routines impact the way that you have enough time for yourself and those other aspects of life that are so important that have been maybe a little bit neglected or discarded. Fun, pleasure, having opportunity to kind of really explore things that feel meaningful to you, and sort of allowing the opportunity for you to kind of fall back in love with some areas of your life or bring in some new things that are going to light you up in new ways, okay? Venus is also shifting into Taurus on the 28th, so you're going to have again that really beautiful alignment. Venus loves to be in Taurus, so that sensuality, that tactile energy, the sort of I want to have like really incredibly immersive experiences. You'll be getting to the end of the month and it's just like I want to experience something different. I want to physically see it with my eyes. This is not like just all like online and virtually. It's just like, take me there. I want to actually be in the place. I want to taste the food. I want to hear the noises and smell the smell. It's this kind of different effect that it's going to have on your energy that I feel is also really transformative to kind of being able to free and clear yourself from something. Now, we're just going to take a look and see how these oracle cards want to join the conversation for this general spread this month for you, Capricorn. Let's have a look here. Okay, we have Whispers of Mother Earth, creativity, ideas, inspiration, artist, writer, channel. Well, there's an awful lot of air elemental energy coming through with that. And I love this for you. I think that there is an explosion of that kind of an energy in 5th house. And so anything that you have been toying or kind of thinking about, this is the month to make time to do it. The retrograde is wonderful for reflective energy that brings about new levels of creativity and strengthens your intuition. Remember, there's a sort of a reshuffling that's taking place and a kind of drawing a line and things coming to a head a little bit. But all of that I feel is about making space for you and something that matters to you, something that's important to you, okay? And all of that is also helping to sort of build a new resiliency within you. The sort of preparation energy that comes through in Taurus season, but particularly at this particular moment, is also really important. So if you start to feel guided towards doing things that are about taking care of legacy, that are about supporting yourself, your family, your loved ones in the long term, all of these things are significant and helping the collective energy sort of heal and progress and, just prepare for some of the continual shifts that are taking place that are needed to get us where we are heading. So your Monology card, Capricorn, is the new moon in Aquarius. Open up to change. What needs to change in your life? We have to just really call it out and be honest with ourselves. But that Aquarian vibe suggests that you'll do it in quite a maverick way. You'll do it in a very unique way. You'll do it in a way that serves you and that's very much mirroring your natural essence and energy, not because you're being manipulated or forced or controlled or pushed to do it. There's a big emphasis around personal power when we deal with particularly Scorpio and a full moon, and the reflection of that. Remember, we also have Pluto still retrograde in your sign. We're kind of reimagining, aren't we, by this deconstruction as to how do I come back into my personal power and make it a more permanent state of being for myself. So opening up to change is a big part of that. Got to do things differently, and I think you're really ready for that, and you're doing it by looking at the details this month and realizing how important those details are. Let's have a look and see at the color card that wants to come through. Nice, you have gold, attract abundance, beautiful. That golden energy is very solar plexus, isn't it? So we just want to come back into our centeredness with that. You know what I said about when you are 100% on board with believing your worthiness, then you're able to manifest what you want. If you don't believe you're worthy of it, you know, then you can talk about wanting all the riches and the prosperity and the abundance, but the body is always going to reject it. So the physical body, and especially in Taurus season, is going to be your invitation to, you know, have a mirror to what's actually going on with what it is that you're trying to pull in by way of your desires, your hopes, your dreams. And you're going to get a real strong read in terms of coming into contact with people this month as to who feels good, who feels golden, brings sunshine and positivity and energy in. You know, there's an immediate kind of sensation, isn't there, when you're around somebody and you know that they're, you know, tuning in and trying to take your energy. You just feel tired and exhausted and depleted even being in their company, never mind having conversations with them. But others that when you're around them, you just get that high. So pay close attention to that. It's these non-verbal cues that are going to really help you to orientate where you should be. So this is a general reading for the month of May. Capricorn, I have my own oracle deck coming out, Life Soul Vision. If you wait to the end of the video, I've put a screen grab on to show you the full deck, and you'll also get a little extra bonus message with that. And you can find the link to pre-order in the description box underneath if you're resonating. I can't wait to start working with it for you. Now, I'm just going to also invite you to think about a personal question that might not have come up in the main spread today, and we'll go ahead and pull a couple of personal cards for you on that particular question. All of the decks I use are in the comment and the description box as well, Capricorn, if that's of interest, okay? Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and clarify this main reading now. So I'm just going to begin with this Queen of Swords energy. What else do we need to know about her energy this month for you? We have the Devil and the King of Cups, water energy there. Joining me for the extended, where the description box underneath has the link, is just a way to support my channel. It helps me to keep doing the free readings, and also you get another 20-25 minutes of insights for the month ahead. So if you're new to the channel, that's what our setup is. Okay, Two of Cups. Coming in with the Three of Swords. Knight of Pentacles there. There's our trust conversation playing out. Four of Wands, Eight of Pentacles. We have the energy of death and the King of Swords. Okay, this Ten of Wands is coming through with the Five of Swords. And the King of Wands, interesting. Another Page of Swords, Page of Cups. Okay, Seven of Cups. That overwhelm coming in there might also be to do with a specific proposal or something that's come forward that you weren't really anticipating, expecting. Strength coming through there. Four of Pentacles. Let's put one more there. Two of Swords. Okay. Knight of Swords. Okay, Capricorn, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you wait to the end to get your oracle card message, and I look forward to continuing this conversation if you're joining me for the extended. Have a great month. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you so much.